And again, it speaks to good.
But that's where the human comes in place. Like that's where I see like vulnerability management is a mix between human telemetry and automation, where you use the human. I have my favorite sentence is don't use a tool, use a tool like a tool, otherwise you become the tool. And use your security team as a scalpel, not as a sledgehammer. They're not there to actually sledgehammer the patches on the system. You're making their life and everybody's life miserable. They should be analyzing the data in a vulnerability management tool or get as much data and telemetry as possible, and then decide what is the suggestion that we make to the dev team. Do we aggregate all of this Sankey YAML in a remediation campaign that, by the way, is something that we released to actually facilitate life last month now, or this month?
Yeah.
There's too many things.
So much of what I've seen from how you handle these vulnerabilities comes down to like where your organization is at with like DevOps practices. So like at PagerDuty, for example, like obviously we were super far ahead on DevOps stuff. Like at least I would hope we were, and we were. I can confirm. And for us, like it made total sense to just hand these results to developers, and like they were all super advanced and able to totally handle like their own container results, their own package results. Like they understood how the whole deployment process was done. They knew their applications really well. Like they could create projects with a great deal of maturity around how we're going to patch and when. But when you're dealing with large mixed environments where, PagerDuty didn't have a large Windows sysadmin team somewhere hiding. But for a lot of enterprises, like they do, and they have a lot of dead applications on mixed life support, like buried skeletons that they need to try to get ownership of. That's where something like we need a real prioritization engine. The result can't be because in my like cloud native world with DevSecOps, I can just show a developer like, hey, here's your Sneak, Aikito, whatever dashboard, and it's saying here's all your results in one place, go fix it. But in large organizations, you have a separate large team that is focused on how do I get, like I have strict audit requirements telling me the timelines for this stuff. I can't just wing it. Like FedRAMP requires you have a documented process for why you are ignoring, fixing, putting off, changing timelines. Like any deviation requires a paper trail behind it. And you can't just do this like, the devs will figure out what they're doing and fix it. And that's where, to me, like you need tools like this at your disposal to be able to like
evidence.
To evidence it, to have a clear line of sight for the auditor. Like this was a lot of what I've done in past jobs, is creating scripts to sort of try to knit all this data together. Like that version difference is an especially prevalent one because a lot of most CNAP vendors don't have great Kubernetes integrations. And so even, if you have 5 new versions of an image getting deployed to a cluster a day, and the auditor, and you have something that scans your cluster once a day, and the auditor asks you for the results of your runtime scanning, like which one do you give them? And so
all of them.
Yeah. So that's, what we've done, or what I've done before, is like we were scanning our container registry for all of the versions of the image that were deployed on that day. We are grabbing all the results manually and sending it in through a data pipeline that we built and had to maintain. And like, that's the crazy nightmare of trying to do this with honesty at scale in a complex compliance environment.
I think you hit the nail on the coffin. That is at scale. Like these things are huge. Like even patching machines, VMs, you can have tons of them, but with the cloud and with container, this role is massive. So even trying to remotely think to do this, not programmatically, is insane.
Yeah,
you're doomed to fail.
Well, this gets into the skill set issue for me of we hire security engineers to do this, and it's not at all what we're good at. Like you actually want like a data specialist, or even just like a BA or someone who understands working with data sets. And then you want like a project manager to tell developers what to do and make sure that they're staying on top of it and meeting timelines. Like
you need to have the metrics in there, because like, what does it mean to stay on top? Like, stay on top doesn't mean anything because everybody has different priority. Like, one of the things that we pride ourselves is that you can have a one backlog or a single meaning or a single target that everybody can drive towards and strive towards, because at scale, that's what moves mountains. Like, everybody needs to aim for reaching this particular risk level. Let's make it competitive. That's where you bring your security champion and everything else. But having a single clean, or what we call one backlog of clean stuff to then aim towards. So you have your clean vulnerability and your same organizational objective to drive towards.
Yeah, and that's every CISO has wanted the same dashboard that I've ever worked for, and it is, what team do I need to go yell at? Like, they have their monthly meeting with the CTO, and they just need to tell them, this team's doing a good job, this team we need more work from. And like, that's,
it's not just the team. Like, what we found that was really effective is who is the product owner that owns this bunch of apps, because they have, in theory, the power to actually then steer and prioritize the backlogs for each dev team. So that's what we found with Phoenix, more effective at scale with a number of financial institutions, because devs don't decide the life and death of their own features. They just massacre to say, deliver more, do more sprint planning. Like, if they have 10 story points that they can do on a week, and you ask them to do another 5 story points to actually even understand this, like, and then decide, hey, I'm gonna create the YAML version or a bump this library. That's a whole nightmare. Like, that's a whole bunch of stuff that they need to do on top of things. So if they're not authorized to do that stuff, and if you don't make it competitive for the people that have the steer on the wheel, you're never gonna achieve anything. And those, unfortunately, are cascading